I do, this is like 3 years in now, something like that. It's like third year in. I got who do, Barry Robbins called me on the blue. If I would like to be on, meeting, he said, you gotta be voted on and stuff, and I'm like, got off the phone, I told Don, she's like, well, you got me voted on stuff. I said, well, people know me. So I told him I'm interested 5 minutes later. Like he said, you're in.
You're in. We got a vote. You're good.
You know then, you've done messed up. No, this is a pretty good one. I like this. It gets kids, sometimes.
Make some enemies up here.
Yeah,
Careful.
yeah. I try to keep a low, but yes, you can make some. And I get paid. I get paid over. I don't know how many times we big kids we get paid off. I'm like, man,
Yeah. Gotta hear with $100 bills every night, don't you? I didn't even know it was a planning commission. Here. I thought it was a county commissioner meeting. So when you're up here, Mike, did we just vote you in to be a commissioner? Oh, they missed it.
now they said over
I saw
there.
Robbie sitting over there. I'm like, oh, this is the planning commission. Like, yeah, I get it. One of my neighbors wants to rezone his property, so another one of my neighbors said, hey, you just be there. It's a terrible idea. I said, all right.
Man, that's pretty cool because
You learn a lot about how the government works.
you do. And man, it is. At one time, you could. It's a county like right. I'm like, they're irregular.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Hey. Let's see who we can make mad today. Yeah. Hey, check this out. I played golf today. That's the one benefit of being on the board. A couple buddies of mine got a golf cart and went fishing out there today, which you can do. Remember, he was driving across the bridge on 14 and his rod hung up in a little bush. So he turned around. He drifted. He ran that thing right off the bridge.
no.
Look at that. He bailed. Lucky he didn't plan on him.
Wait, no, I'm asking you guys.
Look at that. It's Mike Bailey. I don't know if you know Mike. I don't know if
The Cup Connector?
No, his textile rubber. Run around.
Dude, I almost went.
The front left wheel was in the water.
That was close.
Yeah. But that could have turned out. Yeah, could have turned out worse.
I'd probably angle it around that.
I can never figure out these chairs.
Kind of back it up just a hair and put it a little bit in the middle. We don't want to give anybody
Make sure I quit that today. A buddy of mine was fishing, and his rod got hung up in a tree, and he turned around to check on his rod, and he ran the golf cart off the bridge.
Get right.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Dalton Whitfield Barnell Planning Commission to order. Let the record reflect that we have 3 commissioners present, which constitutes a quorum, and I'll turn it over to Chairman Litterdale.
Thank you, sir. We have one coming. First of all, I'd like to say we do have a quorum. Mr. Pennington is absent, as Ms. McClurg. Second order of business is to review the minutes of the previous meeting. Are there any comments, changes, motions?
Make a motion to approve it.
Can I get a second?
Second.
3 seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Tonight, we do have 10 items to look at, or 10 requests. They are all in the county. Before we get to them, Mr. Ethan Calhoun will review the procedures and requirements for those who'd like to speak for this meeting. Ethan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's meeting will follow the order of the agenda and at the discretion of the chairman, and every item on tonight's agenda will follow the same procedure. We have agendas out front on the table. If you'd like an agenda, feel free to forms I'll explain in just a moment. For each item on the agenda, the chairman will open that rezoning. I'll go forward, give a short statement, answer questions. Once they've heard all my comments, they'll ask for the petitioner. So that's the person tonight who's here to rezone your property, or who's serving as power of attorney for the rezoning, to come forward to the podium and answer any questions that the Board of Commissioners or Planning Commissioners may have. Once petitioner's comments have been heard, the chairman will ask if anyone else would like to speak in favor of the rezoning other than the petitioner or property owner. Once all comments in favor of the rezoning have been heard, the chairman will ask if anyone would like to speak in opposition. If you'd like to speak in opposition, it's imperative that out front, you grab one of those forms and sign that, fill it out, make sure on the form to note what the item on the agenda is that you're going to be speaking in opposition of, and please print and sign your name. It's critical that you print your name clearly so that we can make sure we get your information correct in the record, because that will be transcribed to writing and sent forth to the Board of Commissioners in their future meetings where they will make a final decision. So tonight's meeting purpose is to hold a public hearing, to hear comments for and against these items. No decision will be made tonight in regard to zoning action. All zoning action will be sent forward for recommendations from the Planning Commission to the Board of Commissioners at their next meeting, which will take place in November. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, sir. First request is to hear from Miguel Arredondo to rezone from R5 to GA, 7.4 acres located off Airport or on Airport Road. This is in the county. Mr. Arredondo, are you here? Okay, just need to know. Go ahead, Ethan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This request would be to rezone from R5 rural residential to general agriculture, 7.43 acres on Airport Road, and the petitioner's request was made in order to build 2 single-family detached dwellings on the subject property, and as it currently stands, having this property be divided in a manner to accomplish that is not currently possible with the lot layout. So with this being general agriculture, they'd be able to have 2 homes on a single tract of land, and that would be able to accomplish their needs. General agriculture, you can see on the zoning map, is in this area. General agriculture and R5 share a lot of similarities, so we don't see any issue creating any discrepancies in the zoning map. And we can see that the development in this area is larger lots, which would fit the general agriculture description. See, look at the subject property, very, very deep and narrow lot. So this would allow, again, up to 2 single-family detached dwellings on the subject property. And we see it's within the Rural Agricultural Reserve. There's no issues with this character area in the comprehensive plan and the general agriculture zone district. So with all those factors, staff recommendation is to approve. Happy to answer any questions.
Alan? That's it, thank you.
Ethan, I'm sorry. Your recommendation is to prohibit concentrated animal feeding operations?
Oh, that's
Why would that be?
anytime with general agriculture when we're in a residential area, that's a condition for consideration.
Okay.
Since the property is bounded on 3 sides by residential,
Ones of GA that
they would be able, that is correct.
the condition would be not to allow,
That is correct, sir.
and the petitioner knows that?
They would be able to answer to that.
All right, thank you, Ethan. Mr. Arredondo? Is there anything you'd like to add or comment? Is there anything you'd like to add?
Is the question for the chain for the city for the agriculture
Octavio.
Talia?
¿Qué quiere decir?
Oh, que la request es para cambiarlo del estado para agricultura.
The only thing that he wants to do is to make change to agriculture.
Okay. Do you understand the restriction where you cannot raise animals?
Commercial.
Can't do commercially raise animals?
Poultry.
La condición que hay es que no pueden poner ahí polleras.
Pollo,
No, polleras, en
Pollera.
cantidad comercial.
It's good.
Usted la va a poner solamente para usted sin ese. If he will have any chickens, it will be used to get the eggs for himself.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me, I didn't hear all that. He understands the condition?
He does.
He does.
That's what I used to.
Is anybody else would like to speak in favor? Anybody would like to speak in opposition? Ma'am?
I'm having trouble hearing what y'all were saying up here, so I may cover something you just said.
Need to give Ethan your sign form.
Give Ethan the sign form. That's the problem with being first.
And could you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Phyllis Garrett. My best friend is Marcia Neal, who is the owner of the property next door to this property. She's lived there 40 years, and the things that concern her about moving to,
You know, only one can talk. If you-
the things that we're concerned about is the noise and the smell, because General Agricultural could have a lot of animals, the invasion of animals possibly onto her property. And I understand they're not supposed to come over there, but then you could spend a lot of time trying to get them off of your property. The zoning that we read said that you could possibly have RV and campgrounds, slaughter yards, shooting ranges, and garbage disposal in the general agricultural rules and
Zone.
regulations, yeah. So that's the type of thing that she's worried about with going to a general agricultural.
All right, what you may not have heard in the exchange is.
I couldn't hear
Yeah,
anything.
okay.
It was very low.
What they were talking about was there would be a condition to prohibit animal feeding operations,
Okay.
bringing animals on there.
Commercially.
Commercial.
Pig lot, poultry farm.
That was definitely a consideration we were
Yeah.
talking about, was
And
the smell of
That will be
that kind of.
prohibited.
Okay.
So I think it's your major concern.
And that's the specific to this property, not general agriculture. You're just adding this
We're adding this
to
to.
that.
Correct.
All right.
So we'll
That's-
take care, I think, your major concern.
Well, that,
I don't think
and
that-
we would prefer not to have a shooting range or a garbage disposal site, which, you know, if you read the directions, that's what it says is possible.
I don't think that will happen.
Yep. Well, guarantee it, and I'll shut up and go home. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If there are no other objections, then we're going to move on to the next request. Next request is Michael and Lita Atkins seeking to rezone from R2 to R5. Tract of land totaling 1.5 acres along Donville Road. Ms. Atkins, are you here? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ethan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The request here would be to rezone from the single-family low-density residential to the rural residential zone district. This property is a little over 1.5 acres on Donville Road. And currently, this property is undeveloped. The petitioner's desire in order to ask for this rezoning was to be able to add a manufactured home to the subject property, or place a manufactured home on the subject property. We can see that it is at a convergence between the R5, the R2, and the GA zone districts in this area. If we take a look here at existing development, we see pretty similar to what we see on the zoning map, more R5 to the southeast, more R2 to the north. When we take a close look in this area, we do see multiple manufactured homes, one of those being adjacent to the subject property on the south. And we see several manufactured homes throughout this area. So at this point of convergence between these zone districts, we see that the subject property being in this transitional area is adjacent to manufactured homes. This is an established character in the area. And based on that and based on the rural residential character area, there's not really a conflict with R5 and the rural residential character area because the R5 zone district is the rural residential zone district in the zoning ordinance. So we see a similarity there. We don't cite any issues based on the request, and staff recommendation is the rezoning can be approved. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you.
And one more time, I see there's a condition to petition or whatever that.
Yes, sir. The condition there was to prohibit duplex dwellings, to make sure that, because it is a single-family area. Excellent. Thank you for confirming.
Thank you. Michael and Lita Atkins? Name and address?
Lita Atkins, 409 Donville Road.
Okay. Do you have anything like to add or comments to that? It's just nothing? Any questions? You understand?
Yes. No issues. No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else would like to speak in favor? Anybody would like to speak in opposition? Ma'am, come on up. Sir, sorry. I saw an arm going that way. No, it looked like that lady's arm was up.
Good evening, Commission. Matt Daniel, 1410 Rufus Drive. Me and my wife own property on Johnson Road. I'm also here on the behalf of 5 other property owners, parcel number 12-101-01014, partial 12-101-01030, partial 12-101-01005, partial 12-101-01011, and partial 12-101-01029, all of which have road frontage on Johnson, Johnson Road. All 5 property owners respectfully disagree with the staff analysis. In respect to the 2 existing manufacturing homes, 2 wrongs doesn't make adding R5 zone a right. It's my understanding that the 2 manufactured homes were possibly grandfathered in during the unified zoning when the R2 zone was created, establishing the character of that area. The 2 manufactured homes are zoned R2 for single-family dwelling, and to my understanding, if the manufactured homes are removed or destroyed, then the property use would have to conform to the existing zoning, which is R2 for single-family dwelling, maintaining the character for that area. The R5 zoning will affect the property values. In 2017, when I purchased this property, zoning was one of the top considerations, and a R5 zoning on Johnson Road would have been very problematic. Like the rural residential character area, development should respect the community's tradition and maintain its largest lot residential use. Unlike the rural residential areas, this character area is best described as suburban neighborhood as described in the Whitfield County Joint Commission Plan, which accommodates the development that complements the setbacks and existing adjacent homes, and the primary uses are single-family residential homes. The rezoning request from R2 to R5 fundamentally goes against Whitfield County zoning and the Whitfield County Joint Comprehensive Plan. To put this spot zoning in perspective from our suburban neighborhood area, if you look at the chart north of Donville Road, east of Pleasant Grove Drive, to include the main roads from the beginning to their end, with the main roads consisting of Thrasher Hills, Rufus Drive, Johnson Road, Shady Acres, Brooker Farmore Road, Thorntree Way, to the area of Kaler Drive. There's approximately 3.7 miles of road frontage, approximately 134 taxpayer parcels encompassing approximately 271 acres. There is not one parcel that is zoned R5. I thank you for your time this evening and your service on the commission. Respectfully, please maintain the character of our area and don't change the existing zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in opposition? This is a chance for y'all to, if you want to rebut anything he said there, come on up.
Can we, I have a picture of the home we're wanting to put there. Would it help if we show you it?
I think that it would be the existing conformity and what could happen to the other parcels, because we could do the same thing on the back of our lot.
And I'll just be honest, we bought that land with hopes to build a house, and we can't afford to build a home, and we found a mobile home that's beautiful. We're not going to open a trailer park, we're not trashy people, and I just wanted to add that, because
All right, thank you. That said, I think we're going to close the public portion on that request. The next one is to hear from Raul Bibiano to seek change from C2 to R5, parcel containing .88 acres at 2751 Tilton Road. This is to maintain conforming status. Ethan? Mr. Bibiano? Thank you. That's good. I just need to know you're here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a fairly straightforward case. The petitioner is requesting to go from general commercial to rural residential, and this is made in order to bring the subject property into conforming status. There we see it as an island of C2 surrounded by general agriculture in R5. Here we can see existing development. Closer look, you can see the subject property as a single-family dwelling. So this rezoning would bring the subject property into conformity, eliminate a commercial spot zone, and be more consistent with the properties around. And we can see that it's within the Rural Agriculture Reserve, and of course, this change really wouldn't affect the character of the property based on its existing development, but would bring it into conformity as a residential zone tract. So the staff recommendation here is to approve, no conditions. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bibiano? Come on up. Can you name and address, please?
2751 Old Tilton Road.
Okay, if you have any comments, additions, things you want to say?
No.
He said it?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No questions over there? All right, thank you. Anybody else would like to speak in favor? Anybody else would like, or anybody would like to speak in opposition? Very well. We'll close the public portion on that request. The next request is to hear from the James Cobble Estate, seeking to rezone from GA to R5, tract of land containing 10.81 acres at 2301 Lake Francis Road. Representative of the estate here? Okay. Go ahead, Ethan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The request here would be to rezone from general agriculture to rural residential. And purpose for this request is in order for the heir of the estate to be able to divide this property and combine it with their neighboring property, which I believe you can see is the R5 island in the top northwest portion that's cut out of the subject property. They would need to rezone to R5 in this case in order to combine that tract, the portion of the subject property with that tract, and that would leave a portion of the subject property after the fact. This rezoning would allow them to accomplish that. There's no plans that the petitioner has brought forward to develop or build or anything like that. It's mainly for them to be able to combine their home and property and with some of the subject property itself, which is the larger tract we see outlined in bold. We see here in this case, subject property is bounded both to the northwest and to the south by the R5 zone district. So this is a zone district common throughout this area, but it is also another transitional area between agriculture, R2 and R5. Here we can see the subject properties, one single family detached dwelling, and we can see a pond on the southern portion of the property. Closer look, we can see the store next door on Beaverdale Road. And we can see this is also within the rural residential character area in the Joint Comprehensive Plan. And based on the zone districts in this area and the size of the R5 district, this would not compromise the integrity of the area or the zoning map in this area if this rezoning is approved. One point of consideration that I did note in the staff recommendation, which is for an approval with a condition that no duplex dwellings be permitted on the property. It may be worth adding as well that no manufactured homes be permitted at this location based on the lack of any established manufactured home character on Lake Francis Road at this location. No adjacent homes. So that may be something worth considering, those two factors, in order to maintain the integrity of the area, but also accomplish the needs of the petitioner. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I think that's it. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Danny Cobble, 2029 Lake Francis Road.
Okay, you have any comments?
I'm simply doing this trying to fulfill my father's wishes. This part of this land was left to me. I can't transfer it because it's a different zoning and add it to my current property. So looks like what's going to happen is that I'm here tonight to get it to R5, and I'll probably be back in a couple of months to redo it to general agriculture when I get it changed over.
The combined tract with your
Yeah.
house and.
Yes,
that.
yeah, because mine is R5 now.
Yeah.
So, but the new part is general agriculture.
Yep.
But I have no plans to do anything but the same thing I've done for 48 years, is mow it and try to keep it up.
All right, any questions? Gentlemen? All right, thank you.
Let him speak. If he's in opposition, let him.
If you want to speak in opposition or in favor?
No, I have no plans to develop it
Okay.
or put anything else on it at this point. I'm not saying that that's never going to happen, but I don't have any plans for it.
My only thing is I would like to agree with the fact that I don't want any manufactured homes there.
All right, that's already established. That will be established. Anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody else like to speak in opposition? To this gentleman here? Gene, does that work? Just in case. Go ahead.
So my name is Walter Ludwig, and I live at 2050 Lake Francis Road. So I own the property right across the street. I heard a couple of real positive things as far as not having any multiple family dwellings on the property or mobile homes or duplexes, which I'm happy to hear. But I also have a question, which is why I raised my hand. if this man is going to come back and rezone, why doesn't he just rezone that property as GA so that it all matches as GA, the one that he's trying to bring into his zoning? That way it would eliminate any possibility of having multiple dwellings on that property in the future, which is what my biggest concern is. There's a pond on that property. There's fresh water that comes into that pond, out of that pond, goes underneath the road, Lake Francis Road, and borders my property and the store. And the fear is that if there's multiple dwellings because of the zoning, that is a potential of polluting that freshwater stream because of septic fields. And so that's why we do not approve of that zoning. However, if he had the idea of restructuring his property, we would be okay with R1 or R2, which would not allow them to be able to put multiple dwellings on that property, but it would make more sense that he would just make that property agricultural to be able to conform to his property that he has now.
Well, you do understand that we probably will put a prohibition to multiple duplexes or multiple housing.
But I think his concern is a year from now, some developer approaches him and says, hey, I think I could build 10 houses on this property, and it's zoned R5, and he comes and gets it divided into smaller lots and builds
Absolutely.
however many houses.
Ethan, is that correct, or is it in perpetuity?
Well, the restriction for duplexes, manufactured homes would be in perpetuity.
Will be in
But
perpetuity.
if it's R5, it could be further subdivided and have multiple single-family homes there. That's his concern.
That is my concern. However, he said that's not what he's wanting to do, but the potential is there.
All right. Thank you, sir. Was one other back there? Name of the address for the record, please.
Mark Joyce, I live at 715 Dancler Circle. If you'll look to the left of that said property, that next big square you see is mine. It's approximately 50 acres. I come tonight with the same issue that the gentleman just spoke has, that somewhere down the road, he may not be himself wanting to do something, but the concern is there that if some builder approaches him or whatever, then it can be subdivided, like Chris was talking about. I do speak for some people that can't be here tonight, and I would like to have signed letters from all of them. Lamar Lyle, Steve Gordon, Zenas Maston, and David Moronis, which David actually made it tonight. I'm in agreement that he does not have to legally rezone that piece of property to put it into his name. He can accept that piece of property as it is in the estate and will. Again, I mean, you know, it was my dream to have a large piece of land. I actually bought that piece of land from his daddy. And we had a gentleman's agreement when time came that I would be able to buy that corner. And that was at General Agriculture. If it goes to R5 and a builder moves in, then he can hold me up for a larger price. And it's gonna make, if R5 does come to that point at some time, it's gonna make my property value go way down. But here are the signed letters, if y'all would like to see them. I would be.
Yeah, let's bring one up.
Present these.
We'll keep these for the record.
And I also have one other letter, but it didn't make it to me in time. Steve White. He has been out of town, former owner of Challenger Industries.
Uh-huh.
He is prepping for a colonoscopy in the morning. So he didn't think it was a good idea to be here.
Drinking that stuff.
But I appreciate the opportunity to be here and voice my opinion, and, you know, I know Chris and where he lives out close to me, and I'm sure he wouldn't want an R5 next to him.
All right,
So,
very good.
thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That said, I think we'll close.
Danny, would the suggestion of taking yours to general agriculture, would that be something you'd consider?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all. The reason I did it is because I'm having to, I had to have it resurveyed and cut it off. Everything was the estate's issue, so that's why, that's why I'm doing it. Instead of changing mine to general agriculture. Actually, I thought mine was the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it was cut off of his property. I figured it was done the same thing, but it was 1978.
Well, you know, I live on out there past you a little bit, and there's a piece right next to me that's zoned R5 that I ended up buying it because I was afraid of what might happen next door to me. But you understand their concern. So that's something you would be open to?
You know, they've got an R5 right there in the middle of it. So it's already there, but mine is R5.
Yeah.
Okay. Answer.
About 2.7.
Okay, thanks, sir.
But if that could, I mean, if we could do that, that would be great. I don't want to go through this whole process
Okay.
again.
We'll discuss that in
Okay.
deliberations.
Thank you.
Thank you. You got something you need to,
Yeah, I'm in that area as well. I would like to, enter by.
Tell him,
come on up.
did he fill
We'll
out a form?
reopen it.
Has he filled out a form?
Have you filled out the form?
I just would like to.
Address, please.
Charles Kelly, 350 Remington Way, Dalton, Georgia. I'd just like to, collaborate with them, cooperate with them and say that, I don't want the R5 there.
Okay.
Okay?
Short and sweet, thank you.
one more?
One more, and this is it. Come on up. Coming out of the woodwork.
My name's Lee Ballou. I live at 2079 Lake Francis Road, and we share the same concerns. We just want to go on record that the concerns are spread wide in our area. Just, same concerns about the multiple developments, and I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to get on the record that we are concerned. My in-laws built on Lake Francis back in the early 80s, and we moved in their house probably about 12 years ago. And my mother-in-law is still currently there, Annette Hill, and she's 84. She's unable to be here, so we want to represent, give her a voice as well. So, okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Said. Just a second here. Are you going to agree or come up and, do you have something additional?
A little different to add.
All right, come on up.
My name's David Moronis, live at 2063 Lake Francis Road. Mark
brought a paper that I'd signed because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it. He addressed most of my concerns, and you guys have answered most of the questions. The only other concern I have is because Coahulla Creek High School is just down the road, we have a lot of through traffic come through already. We had couple of years from now, I don't plan on going anywhere, and there's a multi-house unit of some type ends up over there, traffic's going to increase phenomenally. Already, on the average, I have 3 killed deers in front of my house every year. Large ones, small ones. Anyone else that lives there can tell you the same. I do not see any way reasonable that we can have any type of multi-unit, multi-house in that area. And that's what I wanted to bring up. We already have a lot of traffic in there. We'd have to make some other issues there.
The objection is more houses, more traffic.
Exactly.
All right, now we're going to close it. Go on to the next request. Something backwards here. Okay, this is Hollis Holdings LLC. Basically Patterson Farms requesting a change from GA to PUD, Planned Urban Development. This is out there on the Cleveland Highway. I think everybody knows where it is, to expand to the adjacent lot or property. Ethan, I guess, representing Hollis, you here? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The request here, as you stated, was to rezone from general agriculture to planned unit development. And as you also stated, this would be an expansion of an existing planned unit development, the Patterson Farms development, which you can see to the north. So this district has already been introduced to this area. The pattern has already been established for this development. This would simply be an additional phase, an expansion of this planned unit development. This expansion, based on the preliminary site plan, which we'll look at in just a moment, would be the introduction or the addition of an additional approximately 44 new residential units with some of that property for future commercial or residential. So there could be additional units to that. And we can see zoning in this area, again, adjacent planned unit development, but also this is a transitional area that we see a number of different zone districts. Here we can see the existing division of land on the surrounding properties and the planned unit development of the Patterson Farms to the north. Here we can see it's in the emerging suburban and exurban areas in the Joint Comprehensive Plan, and that reflects areas of the county that can accommodate additional residential development and infill development. So this would fit that very well. In fact, the established planned unit development to the north, Patterson Farms, has already set the character of this type of density and development. So this would not introduce anything unlike what already exists and has been established in this area. Based on their site plan, we can see here the darker gray portion of this site plan would be the area that we are discussing today that is in question for the rezoning. And we can see that that's being divided up mostly into residential property with some land set aside to the north for future residential or commercial. One thing to keep in mind that makes a planned unit development rezoning different than a standard rezoning district or standard zoning district is that in planned unit development, the rezoning is based on their site plan. And you can see what was originally approved several years ago to the left of that darker gray area. And they are held to that design, and should anything change dramatically, they would need to come back for a rezoning where they would bring forth a plan showing a change in what they're proposing here. So this planned unit development would simply be based on this site plan and could in very limited ways could deviate from that. Staff recommendation is to approve, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Good. Good. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Hollis Holdings?
you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I'll just kind of echo what Ethan said. This is basically just an extension of what we're already doing. Commercial on the east side adjoining Cleveland Highway, and then just residential and stormwater retention behind that. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Is the access to the south, I guess, was that already there?
So there, are you talking about to Cleveland Highway?
Yes.
Yeah, that is an existing curb cut, but we're expanding that. We're doing a decel lane. Once we develop that section, we will be doing a decel lane that's already been permitted with Georgia DOT.
Has that been annexed to Larnell City, or do you plan?
It will be, yes.
So with that, you would want, I assume y'all would want that to be part of the,
The TAD? No, the TAD boundary's been set, and we have no intention of expanding the TAD boundary.
But you would use roads that are already existing there, correct, to access this?
Well, we're putting in a new road off Cleveland Highway.
Because you already have the permit for that.
Right,
Is it Peppermill?
correct.
So that would be extended also?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Questions? Eric? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody like to speak in opposition? Very well. This closes the public portion on that request. Next request is to hear from Austin King seeking to rezone from R2 to C2, tract of land totaling 3.91 acres along Welcome Hill Circle and Walnut Avenue. This one is in the county again. Austin King, are you here? Okay. Ethan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This request would be, again, to rezone from R2 to C2. And the subject property currently totals just under 4 acres in size. We can see it here on the zoning map. Everybody's familiar with East Walnut Avenue in this area, and you can see that essentially every other tract bounding Walnut Avenue along this section of the corridor is zoned general commercial C2 as the subject property is being petitioned for. And we can see here with the existing development, again, mostly commercial along East Walnut Avenue with the exception of the subject property. The church indicated an interest to retain or separate the existing cemetery on the subject property and be able to sell the land that is adjacent to Walnut Avenue further to the east for future commercial development. Based on no conflicts with established development and no conflicts with the established zoning pattern, and we can see here it's fully within the commercial corridor character area of the Joint Comprehensive Plan, which would fit this rezoning to a T. So there's no issues whatsoever staff have identified, and recommend approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Can you re-explain that cemetery portion of it?
Oh, sorry. So there is apparently a cemetery toward the rear of this property, kind of in the curve of the street, I believe, and they would separate or divide that and keep that, as I understand it, in perpetuity. The petitioner may be able to answer in more detail about exactly how they want to divide that property, but they would like to have the ability to sell the portion of the subject property that is adjacent to
Commercial.
Walnut Avenue for commercial development.
I mean, the cemetery can't be touched, right?
Right, I mean, it doesn't matter what the zoning is, they would have to go through a long legal process to do any change to a cemetery.
Okay. Gentlemen? All right, thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Mr. King?
Thank you, Chairman. My name's Austin King. I live at 339 Castle Road, and I am the chairman of the Richardson Cemetery. And over the years, this cemetery was established back in the 1866, and I came on board back in 2014 as a family member, Stafford family member. Over the last 2 years, we've been kind of going back and forth. What do we do with this property? nobody's really maintaining it. It comes to our burden, I guess, as a board member. And somebody brought up, said, hey, what if we take some of this property out and sell a portion of it and use that money to go and clean up the property behind it? Because you've ever been back there, it's kind of woody, it's kind of hidden. And we have a lot of homeless people kind of live on that front end of the property. So we'd like to basically just clean it up. That's kind of our goal. Sell that front property on East Walden Avenue.
Good. Gentlemen? All right.
All right, thank you.
Austin. Does anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody like to speak in opposition? That said, we'll close public portion on that request. Next request is to Lisandro Ramirez, seeking to rezone from R5 to SA. Tract of land 6.5 acres at 421 New Zion Hill Road. Mr. Ramirez? Go ahead, Ethan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This request would be to rezone from the rural residential zone district to the suburban agriculture zone district. Property is currently 6.5 acres, and the subject property contains a manufactured home and a barn. The petitioner's request was made in order to divide this property into 3-acre portions in order to have an additional tract of land for a family easement division, which they would not be able to accomplish as it is currently zoned because they don't have the road frontage, and they would need an agricultural zone district to be eligible for a family easement division of land. So when we see the zoning map, we see that this is at another area where the zone districts are converging. We have the general agriculture district, very large district to the north. We have a large R5, R district to the south, the east, and the west of the subject property. When we look at the similarities of R5 and SA, in many ways, SA is more restrictive than R5. SA, suburban agriculture, only allows for single-family detached dwellings, and those can be either site-built or manufactured homes, just like in R5 and GA. But any sort of intensive agricultural operations are prohibited in SA, and the minimum lot sizes would need to be 3 acres. And the maximum achievable density, if this property is rezoned to SA, would be the addition of 1 additional lot through the family easement. And the reason they're seeking that, again, they're very limited road frontage. But when we look at the subject property size as compared to most of those surrounding it to the east, the west, and the south, this would not create a lot density that does not already exist, or a unit per acre density that is not already well established here. We can see here the development of the area, and we can see the subject property more closely here. The rear portion of the subject property is heavily impacted by the 100-year floodplain, so any development and division of the property is likely going to occur on that southern end, closer to the street. And we can see here that the subject property is fully within the preserve character area. That's because the rear portion of that property is affected by the 100-year floodplain. The southern portion of the property where the petitioner's house currently sits and everything south of that is outside of that. So this rezoning would not impact the overall flood district in the area if this rezoning is approved. And again, suburban agriculture is a very limited zone district in terms of any potential for future use. Staff recommendation is to approve based on the request. And we have no additional conditions based on the limitations of the property.
Gentlemen? All right. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Mr. Ramirez?
Alexander Ramirez at 421 New Zion Hill Road, southeast Dalton, Georgia. Yeah, the plan is just to put a manufactured home on the southern side, so I can start living with myself and start my own family and leave my father with his own house. I mean, that's just basically the whole plan. the whole reason we want to do the rezoning.
When you say the southern side, is that on the edge of the larger piece,
On the bottom, close to the road front.
close to the road front? Okay. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody like to speak in opposition? Very well. Close on that request. Next request is to hear from Scott Sides to rezone from R5 to GA, tract of land containing 25.47 acres at 3349 Oscar Nance Road. Scott Sides, you here?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's behind Ethan.
Okay. Thank you. Ethan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have this request to go from R5 to general agriculture. This is a larger tract, a little over 25 acres in size. Currently, this property contains one single-family detached dwelling. This petitioner's request is in order to allow his children to divide a portion of this property, again, through the family easement exemption. Very similar to the last rezoning that we just saw. Very limited road frontage on Oscar Nance Road to do a conventional division of land in R5, while the subject property is much large enough in order to divide many times under that zone district. It's very limited in road frontage and is not able to do so without a family easement exemption. They would need an agriculture zone district to achieve that. This property is more 5 times the size that it needs to be eligible for general agriculture, so it certainly meets the criteria. In fact, this property was formerly zoned general agriculture before it was zoned R5 a number of years ago to be developed as you see it today. We see the general agriculture zone district in the area, and we can see here a large land lot design. Plenty of area on the subject property for an additional lot to be carved for family members. Significant topography in this area, so commercial animal feeding operations are really not something of concern based on the inherent issues with the property to support such development. So we didn't cite that as an issue. This is within the rural residential character area, and the general agriculture zone district is a great fit for that character area in the joint comprehensive plan. Based on all those factors, the staff recommendation in this case is to approve and have not recommended any additional conditions. Be happy to answer any questions.
None? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Sides?
My name is Scott Sides. I live at 3349 Oscar Nance Road in Tunnel Hill, Georgia, and I don't have anything to add.
Nothing to add. Anybody else have any, or is in favor? Anybody else like to speak in opposition? That said, we'll close the public portion on that. Next request is here from Tanya and William Basbinder, seeking to rezone from GA to SA, parcel containing 7 acres at 5468 Blair Road. Tanya and William? Okay. Ethan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This rezoning would be from general agriculture to suburban agriculture. We've defined those a few times tonight, so everybody understands the differences between those zone districts. This request would be in order to divide the subject property for an additional lot. Based on the property size at 7 acres, it could only support a maximum of 2 lots if zoned suburban agriculture, so the net increase in density would be very minimal at this location. We can see the general agriculture zone district and the R5 zone district collide. We also see an island of low-density single-family residential. The SA zone district is a pretty restricted zone district again for this area, certainly much more restricted than the R5 district. So when we see development in this area, again, we see larger lot, low density, single family, and this rezoning, if approved, would maintain that same character. You can see the subject property here. And you can see where it can be divided into 2 lots that would be each zoned SA if this rezoning is approved. And we can see it's within the rural residential character area, which is an excellent fit for the suburban agriculture zone district. And again, in this case, no commercial type operations would be permitted in suburban agriculture, and there are no additional conditions in the recommendation. The recommendation is to approve, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Don't we have it? Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Tanya Vassbinder, P.O. Box 9174, Chattanooga,
A little close, maybe for the people in the back.
37412.
Okay.
So, we have the 7 acres, and it just makes more sense to us to have it 3.5 and 3.5, so that the second lot, if we choose to build a house on it, we can, or we can sell it to someone else who would like to at some point if we decide. So we want to have it where we have that option in the future.
Any questions? Nope. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody like to speak in favor? Anybody would like to speak in opposition? Very well. We'll move on to our last request. Daniel and Louise Hayes, seeking to rezone from GA to R2, a tract of land, a little over 10 acres along Tucker School Road and Hopewell Road. Ethan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Here we have a request in order to divide from general agriculture to single-family low-density residential. We have a little over 10 acres, and the petitioner's request to rezone is in order to divide this property for the development of new single-family detached dwellings. And it's worth noting that the R2 zone district is the second most restricted residential zone district in the zoning ordinance. Requires approximately 100-foot lot width, a minimum of a half acre in size, which these will almost certainly be larger than, and a minimum square footage for a site-built home of 1,200 square feet of heated floor space. So those are some of the requirements in the R2 zone district if this property is rezoned. There's a number of lots that could be created, minor subdivision lots being created from the existing street access along Hopewell Road and Tucker School Road. And when we look at the zoning in this area, it is largely general agriculture, very low density. We see a number of islands of R5 zoning. We also see an R1 estate residential zone district just to the northeast. So we can see that this is an area where some smaller lots have been created, and we see the R1 zone district, which is very similar to R2. And we see the R5 zone district, which gives a lot more flexibility with zoning. So this would be something in the middle of the existing and established zoning pattern here. Here we see the development pattern, which again overlays very well with the zoning pattern, low density, single family, a number of large agricultural tracts. Here we can see it's within the Rural Agricultural Reserve. With this character area, generally recommended to keep density at a minimum, keeping lots large, density low. This would allow for a density that is in excess of what is generally recommended in this character area. But as mentioned earlier, with the R1 zone district in immediate proximity and R5 islands, and with the restrictions of the R2 zone district and the limited size of the subject property, we don't see this as overall having an effect, a net effect of changing the character of the area, being that it will be required to be low-density, single-family residential only. Recommendation from staff analysis is to approve the rezoning as requested, and no additional conditions were recommended. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Looks like there are none. Thank you.
Thank you.
11115 Tucker School Road. I have the adjacent property to it, all in the back. So it's just to my personal property too. We are going to be dividing this up into 4 lots, 2.5 acre lots. The rest of the lots on Keith Valley and Tucker School, I also developed them. And so the houses that we'll be putting is about $400,000 to $600,000 house is what we're putting out there.
So how many?
There'll be just 4 lots, the one on Hopewell, and then the rest of it will be divided into 3 tracts, and they're 2 to 2.5 acre tracts right there.
Y'all just recently moved out there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because y'all got it, that property.
We bought all the
rezoned,
land
yeah,
out
all
there,
of it.
and then, so we're in the middle of it. So my daughter, my kids, everybody, we all live out there too. So, and then the rest of the houses that I put on the other side starts at 400, and they went up to about 650 is where we're at on with them so far.
Okay,
Okay.
questions? All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak in favor? Anybody want to speak in opposition? Very well, we'll close that. And that closes the public portion. The commissioners will be leaving us, and we will go into closed session to deliberate. You're welcome to listen in, but you will not be able to provide any input. Okay. First one.
You got one up there at the end that I should have. How do you do that?
Gene,
How do you get there with tougher, Jackie? 2.75 acres in general agriculture.
About $1,000 for that lady and
so he's willing to take his personal residence, change it to general agriculture, so we can have that big tract instead of this general agriculture tract going to R5. Is that something that he would be able to do? Incorporate that into that bigger tract and it all be GM?
Ooh, that'd be tough, because his is so small, it can't be GA, his is 2 acres.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, but what he could do is, take his 2 acres, take the GA, I don't know how you want to divide it, if you divide it into 2 5-acre lots in the state property, he could take one of those 5-acre lots and then do his house lot, and make it up 7 acres and be split zone, and that's not a problem if he wants to do that.
But his house would still be R.
No,
It
I
would
mean,
beca-
well,
it would-
he would be split zone.
It
so
would
he
be big enough then it could become, if
Right.
he could add some.
Right.
So
He
if
could
it-
have a second house on there if he wanted to. He'd then be 7 acres split zone, 5 acres GA, 2 acres R5, and that'd be okay.
all right, can we start at the top here and then come back to this? Get some of these.
Yeah, y'all talk about it.
I'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay, discussion. Miguel Ariendo,
You go.
that's that long lot. He's wanting to build 2-family detached dwellings on there.
Move to be approved.
All right. Who's first? First and second.
And that one was the condition of no animal husbandry.
Yeah,
Yep,
with,
catch.
that's with, no animal feeding operations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, next one is Michael and Lita Atkins. This one, there is an objection to this one.
Well, the issue from those in opposition was that these things predated the unified zoning. So even though the zoning presently is R2 low density, it's got mobile homes on it, which are non-conforming. Lots around it, you know, and they're wanting to put a new mobile home. So that was kind of the rub, you know, from some folks. This is a refresher.
Yeah. Supposedly a limited number of mobile homes were there.
There were a couple that were adjacent to this property that were there prior to the zoning.
Yeah.
So, you know, now we've got zoning in the county, and
Yeah, but,
They're wanting to put a mobile home on that property.
but the entire property was grandfather.
Yeah,
This particular property presently does not have a structure on it,
but
correct?
but the previous mobile homes were grandfathered in.
That are on adjacent tracks.
Yeah, on Jason tracks, because it's all
It's,
R2.
it's all one track,
No.
no?
There are no mobile homes currently on this piece of property.
I know that. But it was the entire track was grandfather.
Well, there was nothing there.
There was nothing to grandfather,
I'm just
No,
saying,
it was two mobile homes.
not on this track.
Not on this
It's on
track.
an adjacent track somebody else owns.
as neighbors.
Oh, this is an empty track?
Correct.
Right, oh.
Right.
But the
and-
thing
and-
is, this is all R2, and those others say two mobile homes were grandfathered in.
On adjacent tracks, not this property.
Oh, okay.
So they're, you know, they're wanting to put a new mobile home, and the justification is, you know, there's other mobile homes around them.
No.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Make a motion
That's
to approve the request. I mean,
To disapprove.
to,
Yep, to disapprove.
motion is to disapprove.
Disapprove. So one motion to deny,
I second.
second. Eric seconds. All in favor of denial? Say aye. All opposed? Yeah. Denial has it. Forever in Egypt. Well, Bibiano, rezone.
Move approved.
Chris
That's
moves.
just a non-conforming.
Yeah, that's okay.
Non-conforming, Chris makes a motion to approve. Eric seconds, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, the ayes
Might
have it.
want to tell them to no talking.
Yeah, could you keep it down back there, please? Thank you. The next one is to James Cobble Estate. Now,
Gene, have y'all worked out anything?
Okay. He said, if I,
not SA?
if I understood what he said, he doesn't have any objection to put it on one track.
That's what they're talking
That's
about.
what they're talking about. That's what they're figuring what they can do.
Yep, come.
Maybe what we need to do is have him come back and show us a boundary of how he wants it divided and zoned. Because he wants his, you don't have it up there, he wants his R5 piece.
Let Ethan put it up there.
He wants his R5 piece, which is that
His house.
northwest corner, right,
Yeah.
that combined with the south 7 acres. And all of that become GA, if I understand you correctly. But then that northeast portion, which is only 2.7 acres, can't be GA. It's gonna have to be R2 or some other zoning district. So I think probably what you need to do is let him come back. Because I don't think you can take his request now of 10 acres and say part of it is R2 and part is GA, because you haven't even seen his plat.
Well, in that case, all we have to do is deny this request.
I don't think you need to deny it, because that'll make him
Table it,
wait
shoot
12
12
months.
No, he just needs to
Come back
withdraw.
next month,
Table it.
not even withdraw, table, let him come back next month and show you his survey and his boundaries.
I've got it.
Yeah,
I know you've got it, but I don't know that they can,
we
can
can't.
they? Oh, Robert's not even here.
I would
Dan,
I would not think so. I think you'd have to deal with tonight's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as presented, yeah.
So we could table it, give him an opportunity to show what he wants to do differently than rezoning that whole piece to R5.
can they, Dan? I mean, could he come back and? Because I think what he's gonna want to do is that northeast portion R2, make it R2.
which is what.
Or where you could put a house on the, one house right there on the road.
His surrounding properties
That's okay.
are, and then make his, well,
I think it's beyond what we can,
yeah, it's beyond what he's asking for right now.
what we can do. And if we table it, it'll still be out there. You won't have to represent.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have to re-advertise it, so.
Yeah.
We could just postpone, come back with a whole different scenario. Re-advertise, repost, let you see some different boundaries. Because I think he's gonna wanna encompass his house.
So this, oh, between that and then, I know, Danny, you live here.
Yeah.
This is the northeast section, Gene, that you're
Yes.
talking about, that he would like to have as R2 to, at some point, some family member or whomever build a house right on Lake Francis.
What's already got a house on it.
Resurvey, and then this piece right here is what, figure out.
Yeah, there's already a house on both of those two upper lots.
Right here, yeah, okay.
There, and then my house is next to it. They're both right at 3 acres,
Yeah.
2-point-something acres.
Right, so you're talking about maybe this being its on track, and then this being its on track, is that what she's talking about?
Yeah. Basically, if you flip that over, if you just reverse that,
Yeah.
that's what it's gonna be. Mine will be the.
Yours would become R2,
No,
okay,
mine will become GA.
okay.
He wants his combined with that southern portion,
This tract,
which is why I'm thinking
Yes.
we need to start over
This would
again.
be ours.
Yes.
I think we'll start over.
Yeah, that would be, that'd be fine.
Well, we'll just revise the existing application
Yeah,
and just come back. It's too late for next month, I come back in December, December 16th.
Earlier, yeah.
Are you in a big hurry? Otherwise, otherwise Ethan's proposal is, instead of rezoning it to GA, rezone it to R1.
Oh, well, that's even better.
So that's not gonna prevent him, their argument was he'd be able to
Yeah,
subdivide, he'd still be able to subdivide.
I'm alienated every neighbor I've got.
I think we're gonna have to come back.
Okay. I don't think we change
Okay.
too much of it after the public hearing, yeah.
So I think if you postpone this one, don't send a recommendation forward.
Just
let
table
this
it.
one- Yeah, table it and we'll let it die, and then he's gonna come back with a whole different proposal.
yeah, and then your proposal, Danny, will then be for this and this to all be general agriculture and that to be R2.
Let me show you.
And if that's R2 with a house on it, divide it.
Right, he wouldn't be able to divide.
Yeah, be fine.
Okay?
I got it. Yep.
This is what it was.
Except all of that would be GA, that'd be R2.
Yes, this is mine.
Yep.
But now, this part here is attached to this.
Correct.
Basically, I'm gonna take it.
Attach it to this, change all of that to GA and make that R2.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
That'll work. Yep.
Still have to come back.
Yep, so I make a motion that we table it
All right,
till it's represented.
motion second, all in favor, table?
Perfect. Okay,
All
thanks,
right.
Dan. Yeah, I gotta come up with a vacation.
Let's, what?
That'd be fine.
Yeah, we're just trying to get it,
So it'll be December.
December 16th, I think it is.
All right.
All right, so that was Cobble. Hollis Holdings, PUD, it's pretty much standard.
Move approved.
This makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Octavio seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Austin King,
Move approved.
Second.
that's Chris and Eric.
I mean, cemetery.
The cemetery, obviously they'll have to work within cemetery requirements, but all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Alexander Ramirez, this one is R5.
Move to approve.
Second.
Octavio moves to approve. Chris seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Scott Sides. This one is,
Subdividing for a family member.
yeah, I don't think there was any stipulations to that, was there?
Move to approve.
Octavio moves to approve. Eric seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chris?
Oh, aye.
Okay, make sure. For the record. No problem. Visbinder, this one's GA to SA.
Move we approve.
Chris makes a motion to approve. Eric seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Daniel Luis Wise,
Move to approve.
Second.
Octavio and Chris. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Gene, do your dirty work here.
We don't take any plus today.
Yeah,
What's the big long skin?
That's okay. But not.
But they're all staff approved, so that's the good news. If you look on your screens, you'll see where this property is located. You don't have it on your screens, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it is.
Cleveland Highway, fairly close to, what's it close to, guys?
All right, I see East Broadacre.
Very large piece of property.
beyond Bonneville Road, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. Where is Williams Road?
Williams Road is
Right there,
just to the south.
smack in the middle,
So
yeah.
it's between
Yeah, right about
Broadacre
there.
and Williams.
We don't have a,
I'm sorry?
we don't have a, what do you
If you go put your fingers on it and do like that, it'll make it big.
Yeah.
ET, you know?
That's why you got that in front of you. Okay, so it's 20-some odd acres, guys, 25 acres. And you can see that they have limited road frontage.
Yep.
What they wanted to do is sell the back tract, which is 24 acres.
Yep.
But they have the only way to get back to it is to do a flag lot. And see, I've drawn it in yellow. That's what they want to sell, that big
Yep,
tract.
yep.
They want to keep the lot on Cleveland Highway. And the only way they can do that.
Which one is that? The blue,
The blue one.
oh, the blue.
The one that's in white next to the blue one,
Yeah.
that already exists.
Somebody else owns
They
that.
have an easement.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of created that flag lot 50 feet automatically because of that lot that's in
Yeah.
white. So that's what they're asking for. They need your approval for this flag lot. so
What are
they
they
can
doing
sell
with
it.
it, did you say?
I haven't heard anybody say exactly what they're gonna do. This is a realtor that has it, so I'm not really sure.
What'd you say about the width of the flag, the pole,
50 feet?
50 feet?
That's enough. Yeah. Do go for.
I'm okay.
Okay?
All right. Chris makes a motion. Octavio, second.
Yeah, I understood that correctly, that his house will go to GA, that will go to R2.
And that'll be GS, correct.
I'm good with that.
Yep, correct. Yep.
We'll push on
He's
it.
gotta come back, but, yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Which, we're trying to find something works.
Got it.
You come back in the six,
Always dreamed of living somewhere where I could sit on my front porch and literally have deer bedded down 20 yards from me.
They're there.
you just come back on the 16th to make sure.
You don't know my schedule, I'll tell you.
He can be out of town on
There you
16th.
go. That's holiday month, yeah. I will do. Yours too. Saw her back there.
Yes, you're back here.
Yep.
She came to keep me straight.
Yeah.
Mike Grant.
Oh, this is,
This is up there off of
Yes,
Rauschenberg.
We don't see these very often, but this is a preliminary plat. They're gonna build a subdivision here, if you guys think about it. If you look on your screens, this is on Hadmill Road, west of Waring Road. They want to build 73 lots, and I've given you, the first page is the overall
Okay.
subdivision that they're planning. The next couple of pages are a zoomed-in portion. Octavia wants me to zoom in, so that's zoomed in the next two.
So
pages.
immediately to the east is North Oaks condominium.
Okay.
Right.
North Oaks condominiums.
No.
No, immediately
no,
to
no.
the east is another subdivision.
Okay.
Forest Park and.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's-
Yep.
Now, wait, okay. That's the only reference point is Hague Mill Road. That's going east-west.
Look, Jim,
No.
can you see here where it is?
No, it's so small, I can't,
Okay.
where is Hague
Turn
Mill?
around and look. Hague Mill is the road running along the north.
Oh, I got you.
Waring is the one to the west. That's Beverly Hills and
Hague Mill,
Forest
okay.
Park and
Yeah.
all of those subdivisions. to
What
the
is-
east.
What is,
okay.
what is this here? A lake or a park or?
I see it.
Here's the lake, the big lakes.
This
That's going to be the
main,
Smart Pond.
oh,
Retention?
retention
They're
pond.
building a road in, proposing 73 lots are zoned R2. Lot sizes have to be at least 15,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna provide sewer. You can see all of the roads, all of the road network that they're proposing. Multiple roads. It's been looked at by everybody. We've had this for probably 6 months now.
Uh-huh,
Made them jump through every imaginable hoop.
okay.
So staff recommends it, you know, and of course, we need subdivisions, so.
Yeah, go for it.
And this is the one, the group that's building the subdivision next to New Hope,
Yeah.
Okay.
and also the other one on Rauschenberg, same group of people. They've built about 4 or 5 different
Is
subdivisions.
that Smith?
Well, what they did is they went and got the
Is-
property and developed
I'm
it, and Smith Douglas, I think, might be building
Right.
houses.
It's a Smith, okay.
Smith Douglas.
All right, did we vote on that?
Yeah.
Got something there?
This is just a preliminary.
I'm
That's
over
it.
approved.
Chris makes a motion, Octavio seconds.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
So, you know, in a
Oh.
preliminary, all you're doing
You
is
got
giving them permission.
Yeah, or, yeah,
Structure.
this, do we need a motion for that, or we just,
I'm sorry?
we need a motion to approve this?
Yes, for a
Yeah.
preliminary,
Okay.
I still need a motion.
All right, good.
Okay, this next one,
That's okay, you.
That's Williams,
seconded it.
Winkler, and Grant, and all of them.
yes. This next one is the preliminary for Patterson Farms, phase 4. We just
Just
looked
looked
at the rezoning. But now phase 4
Yeah.
is taking the part that we rezoned to PUD and adding it to the portion to the north. So it's more than 25 acres that makes up phase 4. And again, what you're looking at is giving them permission to start getting their land disturbance permit, build roads, put in sewer, water lines, et cetera.
Driving range is, or does it go right up
This is-
next
It
to it?
was.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was the driving range, right?
Well, I think
Still
it
is.
Still is.
So all total, phase 4 is everything that's in blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna have 119 units, and you can see in the blue down there on the bottom, it shows the breakdown of what they're planning to do.
Traditional townhouse, that's.
Yeah,
these
that's,
big
that
ones.
is the driving range.
And we anticipate that the zoning will be approved on November the 11th.
Yeah, what we just dealt with tonight.
Right, so what I'm probably gonna ask Ethan to do is hold off on preliminary approval until the zoning goes through, because
Okay.
that would be,
Kind of getting
wouldn't be kosher,
Yeah,
okay?
I got
so
it.
we're not doing that tonight.
Yes, you are,
We do have to
because
vote on it?
November the 11th will be here before we know it, before you meet again.
Uh-huh.
And I need you to go ahead and at least
That's good.
conditionally give it preliminary approval.
Okay.
so
Move we conditionally
Chris makes,
approve.
Yeah, as soon as they get rezoned, but.
Octavio seconds. Yeah. All in
With
favor,
that
say
condition
aye.
being the rezoning.
Yes.
Aye.
Eric? Good.
You seconded that, Eric?
Octavio?
This one's in the city. I'll show you where it is.
Oh, yeah, Avenue F.
You can see where, the old rec department on Mitchell Street, John Davis Rec Center
Yeah.
is to the west, Legion Field is up to the north.
This is behind the church on the
Yes.
corner.
Very small lot, All they want to do is divide it into two portions, it's zoned R3. Each would be at least 7,500 square feet. They want to build two single-family houses there. Right now, there's one, they're gonna, I think, demolish that one and build two new ones.
No, they redid it.
I'm sorry?
They redid the house. They didn't
Oh,
demolish it.
they're gonna, okay.
They just-
You know more than I do then.
Yeah.
So they're gonna remodel one, build a second.
Okay, Octavio?
Go.
Second.
First, Chris seconds, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Not one, I'm behind on it.
Messing up her stat.
This last one is a bit of a anomaly. It's also in the city. But it is also zoned R3. And I'm gonna tell you the long, sad story.
Do we need it?
This is an estate. The house that's in, I'll show you where it is. Down,
Oh.
you can see where, what's close by. It's kind of in the working.
Fourth
class
Avenue.
Area of downtown Dalton. East Morris Street's to the north, Walnut Avenue's to the south.
That's Big World up there, Old World,
Yeah.
I'm sort of
Yes.
dating myself. It's way back there.
Avenue.
By the Fifth Avenue Apartments.
Yeah, right. Parents died, left these two houses to their heirs, didn't have a will. The heirs are two daughters. The one that's in pink, one of the daughters lives there and has lived there forever. The parents lived in the house that's green. This is a very small piece of property. Doesn't meet any of our subdivision regulations today. They had to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals to even separate them because they had to have a setback
Yeah.
variance and a lot size variance. And I was really surprised that they were granted the variances, but I kind of understand. They're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. No mortgage company is gonna loan them money with two houses on the same lot. So the Board of Zoning Appeals granted them those variances so they could subdivide this into two lots. They're gonna sell the house that's in green, the one.
The lot-
daughter is
the-
gonna keep the house in pink.
One that's still living there
But because
currently.
it's a city lot, still, even the Board of Zoning Appeals granted those variances, still has to come before you to get final approval.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. I mean, otherwise
Yeah.
you just hamstring them to, yeah. Move approved.
Chris,
Second.
Octavio seconds, all in favor, say aye. All opposed?
We're working with you guys.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
I make a motion, we get out of here?
Our next meeting, is there anything wicked with it being Thanksgiving time of year?
Well, the
See-
next meeting is gonna be on November the Monday, the 25th, I think.
Yeah.
I only have two, it'll be a really short meeting, two simple ones.
Well,
One's in the city, one's in the county.
That's,
This one. Oh, no, that'd be in December, right?
Yeah,
That'll have to be in December.
yeah.
but, that's a Thanksgiving week.
It is Thanksgiving
I mean,
week.
it doesn't affect me, but it may affect, no.
I mean, I don't know yet.
Ethan will talk fast, we'll be out of here in 15 minutes.
Be playing golf somewhere, aren't you?
I do on many days. What stinks is my game's not really getting any better.
Mine never did.
No? More I play,
Little
worse.
I played, it just,
Check this out. I went out there today and played. That's the like one benefit of being on the board. Couple of my buddies went out there fishing, maybe fish on Monday. So they,
Gee, thank you for
oh, yeah, you showed me that.
Told Gene, thanks for supper.
Was he playing, he was
no,
playing
no,
golf?
they're fishing.
They're fishing.
And he had his fishing rods in the back, and it's kind of sticking out the side, and he's coming around, Cleveland Highway's right here. That bridge over that creek right here. He's coming this way, and his rod kind of hit a tree. So he's driving, and he turned around, and it's
It-
dead.
it's
He
just-
it kind of, and next thing you know, he goes like that, and it gets right there at the bridge, and part of it gets
Have a
up
good
on
one.
the bridge. And
Happy Halloween.
he's lucky he didn't get hurt.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good, I mean, so he actually took a cart out fishing?
Yeah, they let you.
Do they?
Monday, you can go
Oh,
out
Monday,
there and get a
okay.
cart, and you can run, they were catching them, they were slaying them. They caught
Well,
it.
that's you guys, not us.
No.
Really?
Any member can go out there and
Cool.
You just need to tell them.
Yeah.
Because we've had issues with people sneaking on property. But yeah, you got.
I was just thinking, they used to be.
No.
dad used to be a golf fisherman. And he could run his own driveway.
That's crazy, yeah. It'd be like what Chang Min Yin used to be, I think, remember him? Chang Min Yin.
You know what they asked him?
bring those to you for your car?
I'll have to grab my wagon, I gotta go to the bathroom, so don't worry about it. I'll go over to the wagon. Oh, I forgot to.